My cat's right here, so she might come over and say hey. Let's see if she can make an appearance. Hey, Sasha. I'd love for you guys to say hey, but anyways. Well, say hey. This is my cat, Sasha. She's a good lady. Except for right now, I need to finish drying, lady. And I can't see with you in the way. You can come lie down if you want to come lie down. You can also take your pencil and lightly color in. I like to do this with some of my pictures. You can leave this alone. You actually don't want to color this in if you're planning to color it in with if you're planning to color it in with markers, then you don't want to color it in too much with your pencil. If you're not going to color it in with markers, then you can go ahead and use your pencil and do some shading in. And the benefit about shading in your I'm gonna make his leg taller. The benefit about shading in your animal is it's going to help you understand like the proportions of the animal better, because you'll kind of feel and realize that the head of the fox, it's kind of rounded, and its nose feature is a little bit on the pointy side, and how you color it in is going to make it look more rounded or more pointed of his nose. You can use your fingers if you're, again, this is if you're not going to color it in with markers. You get to color it in and blend it in. And when you're coloring or shading in, it's always you want to try to go the same direction so it's consistent. Because nothing worse than once you start coloring and you like change direction and you start coloring the other way, and then it will disrupt the flow that you're trying to create, and it's going to make it look weird. Just make it look weird, that's all. So try to color in the same direction. Add details, all those fun kind of things. So because he's gray, and I'm gonna leave his body white, again, when I'm coloring it in, this is just for like when you're shading in, you want to keep the same value, meaning like you don't want one portion of it to be darker than the other. See, like how right here, see how right here my value is a little bit darker than the like over here on this area. We want to try to not do that. We want to try to keep it the same shade, same color. So you can use your finger to rub it in and smudge it a little bit. So there's that part. And then you can go in and you can color. I'm going to color in the same direction that I made my lines for my fur, so that way it stays consistent and it looks like it's part of the fur. The shading is part of the fur. That's what I'm going to try to make it look like. So I'm not going to go opposite direction, or so just follow the same, just color it in a little lighter, and you can use your finger if you want to use it to blend it out a little bit. Got some of my cat fur on there. You can color it in or shade it in by making like little line hatches, or you can just gently color it in gradually. I don't know if you can see that. You can color it in gradually, really close together, and then just push a little lighter and lighter and lighter as you get outward, or closer to the other side, wherever you're coloring. I'm using a little bit of a both techniques actually. I'm kind of hatching, but at the same time I'm also like coloring them really close, and it's kind of like between the two of them. There's lots of different ways to achieve shading with pencil. So there's that. Oops, oops, oops. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit, and then I'm gonna also go ahead and color in darker, much darker, his paws, because Fox's paws are darker. I'm gonna put some foliage here actually, so that way you can't see his feet and they're kind of covered. Because I didn't want to have to draw the feet. I wanted to, and I wanted him to look like, or she, I wanted this to look like they were sitting in the forest. So I wanted to have his feet hidden. Like that. Mm-hmm. Just gonna lightly shade all around him. That's the back paw. So he's gonna have a little bit on this side too, just a little bit on the outside edges. Remember, it's a lot harder to erase something that's much darker. So think about when you're shading, try to shade really light, pushing down on your pencil lightly. And if you gotta go back in and redraw some of your fur texture, go back in. I used to draw with pencils a lot, just my regular old mechanical pencil when I was in high school and junior high. This was probably like my first medium that I've ever used, and I still love it today. It's probably one of my favorite things to do, is just to draw out, sketch out an image and then just color it in black and white. Still think it's probably one of the prettiest things. And sometimes, as an artist, it's kind of hard to know when to stop. So you have to just sometimes tell yourself, this is a good stopping point. You know, it's not going to look any better if I add more things to it. I think I've reached my stopping point, just about there. I'm taking my eraser right now. I don't know if you can see this. If I zoom in maybe a little bit more, I'm kind of going around and under the eyes. I'm erasing some of the shading that I did, so that white, the light just changed a little bit, so that white is exposed underneath it, and it's making the eyes look a little more 3D, and it's making it pop out a little bit more. That is probably it for my fox. Now, no fox looks the same. Just because one reference photo shows one thing, you know, that doesn't mean it's gonna look the same. And right now I'm kind of going in and I'm adding some maybe inner fur texture details. And the one that I'm looking at right now, he's got these like dark lines around his snout area. Putting a little shadow underneath his chin area. Just helping bring it to life a little bit more. I'm gonna color this part of the belly because you really can't see it, and it's gonna be a little bit dark. It's gonna make it, again, make it look a little more three-dimensional because he's sitting down, so this part isn't going to be seen very well. There. I'm just adding some like textures that make him look like he's a little furry. But that was a little too dark. You know, I was able to find this kneaded eraser over at Walmart for pretty inexpensive, and I find that this is really nice because you can shape it to make it as pointy as you need it to be, and erases lines really well without having to damage the paper, which is really important if you are using watercolors or if you're going to be coloring this in and you don't want to damage the paper. Kneaded erasers are really good for that kind of a thing. So there you have it. That is a little tutorial on how to draw a fox.